Did you know that a few simple foods in your kitchen, like a piece of salmon, a spoonful of chia seeds, or even a cup of green tea, might quietly protect your brain every single day after age 65? Most people don't. Because when we talk about stroke, especially in older adults, the spotlight usually falls on medication, high blood pressure, or genetic risks. Food, it's often left out of the conversation. But here's what many doctors forget to say. After 65, your body changes in ways you may not feel right away. Your arteries get stiffer. Your brain becomes more sensitive to inflammation. Your digestive system doesn't absorb nutrients as well as it used to. And that means even tiny nutritional imbalances, the kind most people don't notice, can quietly raise your risk for stroke over time. But here's the good news. You don't need to fear that risk, because every plate you make, every small food choice you take, has the power to push back against it. Not through expensive supplements, not through extreme diets, but through everyday meals, built on 8 powerful nutrients that science now shows can reduce your stroke risk by as much as 30 to 50%. Instead of hoping for good health, what if you could shape it? Today, I'll walk you through what those nutrients are, why they matter, and how to build meals that support your brain for the long run. Because stroke prevention isn't about one big moment. It's about the hundreds of quiet ones, starting with what you eat. Ready? Let's begin. Let me tell you about George. He's 75 years old, lives just outside of St. Louis, and for most of his life, he believed that a balanced diet was enough. He didn't smoke, kept his weight steady, and figured that as long as he stayed away from junk food, he'd be fine. But a few years ago, during a routine checkup, his doctor mentioned something that shook him. His blood pressure had crept up, his cholesterol was borderline, and his carotid arteries, those vital blood highways to the brain, were showing early signs of stiffening. George was shocked. "I thought I was doing everything right," he said. "So what changed?" He didn't go on a strict diet. He didn't take handfuls of pills. Instead, he made small, quiet shifts. He swapped his morning toast for oatmeal with walnuts and berries. He started adding a handful of leafy greens to his lunch, a piece of grilled salmon twice a week, and a cup of green tea in the afternoon instead of soda. And within a few months, something incredible happened. He didn't just feel healthier, he felt steadier. His blood pressure dropped. His thinking felt clearer in the morning. He told his daughter, "It's like my brain isn't fogged up anymore." Here's the key. George didn't overhaul his life. He rebalanced it. And by choosing foods rich in the right nutrients, he didn't just reduce his stroke risk. He regained something far more powerful. A sense of control. Because instead of waiting for a problem to appear, he decided to build protection into every meal. What if you could do the same? Let's start with what many call the brain's favorite oil, omega-3 fatty acids. These aren't just healthy fats. They're essential protectors. Your body doesn't make them on its own, which means you need to get them from food. And after 65, your brain and blood vessels depend on them more than ever. Why? Because omega-3s fight 3 of the biggest silent threats behind stroke: chronic inflammation, sticky blood, and irregular heartbeat. First, they cool inflammation. That low-grade fire inside your arteries? Omega-3s help put it out, keeping your vessels flexible, calm, and less likely to rupture. Second, they make your blood less sticky. That reduces the chance of dangerous clots that can block oxygen to your brain. And third, they help your heart stay in rhythm. Seniors with more omega-3 in their blood have fewer irregular beats, lower blood pressure, and lower triglycerides, all key in stroke prevention. Still wondering if it's worth it? A major review of nearly 200,000 people found that those with high omega-3 intake had up to 30% lower stroke risk compared to those with little or none. That's not a theory. That's science in action. So where do you get these powerful fats? The gold standard is fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, trout. Just 2 servings a week, each about the size of your palm, can make a real difference. Don't eat fish? No problem. You can still benefit from chia seeds, ground flax seeds, walnuts, or algae-based supplements. Just know that plant sources give you ALA, a type of omega-3 your body must convert into the more active forms, EPA and DHA. And that conversion slows with age. That's why, after 65, it might be smart to talk to your doctor about a high-quality fish oil or algae supplement, especially if you don't eat seafood. The key? Make it part of your life, not an afterthought. Because instead of waiting for the damage to show up, you can fuel your brain with what it loves. Now, let's talk about a quiet hero in stroke prevention: soluble fiber. Most people think fiber is just about digestion, but after 60, especially after 65, soluble fiber becomes something more. It becomes a cleaner for your arteries, a stabilizer for your blood sugar, and a fuel source for the tiny gut bacteria that control inflammation throughout your body. So what exactly is it? Soluble fiber dissolves in water and forms a gel-like substance in your digestive system. This gel does 3 powerful things. First, it traps LDL, what's often called the bad cholesterol, and escorts it out of your body before it can build up in your arteries. Second, it slows down how fast you digest food. That helps keep your blood sugar steady, avoiding the spikes that damage blood vessels and increase stroke risk. Third, it feeds your gut's good bacteria. These microbes don't just help digestion. They produce compounds that reduce inflammation, support brain function, and protect your heart. So instead of just thinking, fiber helps me stay regular, think of it this way: soluble fiber helps keep your arteries clean and your brain sharp. Where do you find it? Oats, especially steel-cut or rolled, are an easy start. Apples with the skin on, pears, beans, lentils, carrots, and flax seeds are all rich in soluble fiber. One simple breakfast: half a cup of oats, a chopped apple, a spoonful of ground flaxseed, cinnamon, and a sprinkle of walnuts. That's not just comfort food. That's brain food. Here's something striking. A recent study found that people who increased their fiber intake by just 5 more grams a day, about the amount in a single apple and tablespoon of chia seeds, lowered their stroke risk by up to 12%. And in a large population study in Asia, older adults who got more than 25 grams of soluble fiber per day had nearly 50% lower stroke risk. The takeaway? Instead of waiting for medication to solve the problem later, why not let your breakfast start solving it today? Now, let's look at 2 minerals most people overlook: magnesium and potassium. They don't get flashy headlines, but they're the quiet stabilizers behind your heart rhythm, blood pressure, and fluid balance. And if you're over 65, there's a good chance you're not getting enough of either. Let's break this down. Magnesium plays a role in over 300 processes in your body. It helps your blood vessels relax. It keeps your muscles, including your heart, from cramping or tightening too much. It helps your cells handle calcium properly, which prevents dangerous spasms in vessel walls. potassium works alongside it. It helps flush out excess sodium, lowers pressure inside your arteries, and supports the electrical signals that keep your heart beating steadily. Together, they're like the crew behind the scenes, quietly keeping everything running smoothly. So what happens when they're low? You might not feel it at first, but over time, stiff arteries, elevated blood pressure, and irregular rhythms can sneak in, setting the stage for stroke. Here's the thing. A CDC report showed that most older adults consume too much sodium and too little potassium. That imbalance alone increases stroke risk. Want to shift it? Start with food. Magnesium-rich foods, leafy greens like spinach and chard, nuts like almonds and pumpkin seeds, legumes, brown rice, and avocados. For potassium, bananas, sweet potatoes, beans, especially white beans, beets, oranges, and dried apricots. One comforting option: mashed sweet potato with a touch of cinnamon and chopped almonds. Warm, nourishing, and loaded with both minerals. And the impact is real. Clinical studies show that increasing potassium-rich foods can lower systolic blood pressure by 3 to 5 points, which translates to up to 15% lower stroke risk. Getting over 375 milliliters of magnesium daily is also linked to a 22% reduction in ischemic stroke, according to a 2017 meta-analysis. Here's a gentle reminder. Instead of managing blood pressure with just medication, what if your lunch could help balance it naturally, from the inside out? You've probably heard the phrase, "eat the rainbow." But this isn't just a fun way to talk about fruits and vegetables. It's a science-backed strategy to protect your brain and your blood vessels, especially after 60. Let's talk about antioxidants. These are the compounds that give fruits and vegetables their vibrant colors: reds, blues, purples, greens, and they do something extraordinary. They fight off something called oxidative stress. What is that exactly? Think of it like rust building up inside your body. Every time you breathe, digest food, experience stress, or are exposed to pollution, your body produces unstable molecules called free radicals. When these radicals get out of control, they damage cells, stiffen arteries, and fuel inflammation, all of which increase stroke risk. That's where antioxidants step in. They neutralize those radicals. They cool inflammation, and they help keep your arteries flexible and clean. One major study in the journal Neurology found that older adults with the highest antioxidant intake had a 29% lower risk of stroke than those with the lowest. So where can you find these colorful protectors? Berries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries. Dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, beets, red cabbage, bell peppers, and even purple sweet potatoes. Green tea is another antioxidant powerhouse. So is dark chocolate, just a small square of 70% cocoa or higher. Here's a simple routine. Start your day with green tea. Add berries to your breakfast. Enjoy a bowl of roasted veggies at dinner. And don't forget spices. Cinnamon, turmeric, oregano, and cloves are antioxidant-rich, too. Sprinkle generously, not just for flavor, but for protection. Instead of seeing food as just calories, what if you saw it as a daily defense system for your brain? Because the brighter your plate, the stronger your protection. Let's turn to a lesser-known but game-changing nutrient, vitamin K2. If you've ever been told to take calcium for your bones, you're not alone. But here's what most people aren't told. Calcium only helps when it goes to the right places. That's where K2 comes in. Think of calcium as a powerful worker with no sense of direction. Without guidance, It can settle in your artery walls instead of your bones, leading to stiffness, high blood pressure, and increased stroke risk. Vitamin K2 acts like a traffic controller. It tells calcium, go to the bones and teeth, stay out of the arteries. How does it do that? By activating special proteins in your body, like matrix GLA protein, that prevent calcium from hardening your blood vessels. And that's critical, especially after 65. Why? Because with age, your ability to regulate calcium declines. Many older adults are told to take calcium and vitamin D, but not K2. That's a recipe for arterial calcification, the kind that silently raises stroke risk over time. In a large study of over 16,000 women, those with the highest intake of vitamin K2 had a 20% lower risk of coronary artery disease. And though the study focused on the heart, researchers believe the stroke benefits are closely related. So, where can you find K2 naturally? It's mostly in animal-based and fermented foods. Aged cheeses like Gouda and Edam, pasture-raised egg yolks, grass-fed butter, and natto, a fermented soybean dish popular in Japan. One simple breakfast idea: scramble pasture-raised eggs with spinach and top with a little shredded hard cheese. That's a K2-rich start to your day. Now, a word of caution. If you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, you'll want to talk to your doctor before adding a K2 supplement. It can affect how your medication works. But for most seniors, a little more K2 on your plate could mean clearer arteries and a safer path for blood to reach your brain. Instead of calcium going rogue, why not help it land where it truly belongs? Now, let's shine a light on a quiet deficiency that affects millions of older adults. Vitamin B12. You don't hear much about it in stroke prevention conversations, but maybe you should. Because B12 doesn't just help your nerves and energy levels, it plays a critical role in keeping your blood vessels clear, your brain sharp, and your risk of stroke lower, especially after age 65. Here's how. Vitamin B12 helps make red blood cells. These cells carry oxygen throughout your body, including to your brain. It also protects the myelin sheath. That's the insulation around your nerves. When that sheath breaks down, messages between your brain and body slow down or misfire. But most importantly, for stroke, B12 helps reduce homocysteine, a substance in your blood that, when too high, can damage arteries and increase clotting. Elevated homocysteine is a known risk factor for both heart attacks and strokes. The scary part? As we age, our ability to absorb B12 from food decreases. You may be eating enough, but your stomach may not be absorbing it. Why? Lower stomach acid, long-term use of antacids, certain medications like metformin, or a condition called pernicious anemia, where your body stops producing the protein needed to absorb B12. And the symptoms of deficiency can sneak up slowly: fatigue, tingling in hands and feet, memory issues, or balance problems. Here's the good news. A 2013 meta-analysis of 19 trials found that B vitamins, including B12, could lower stroke risk by 12 to 15%, especially in older adults. So, where do you get it? B12 is only found in animal-based foods: meat, eggs, dairy, fish. A simple breakfast of eggs with spinach and a cup of Greek yogurt gives you a strong start. If you're vegetarian, or if you're not absorbing B12, well, talk to your doctor about a supplement, either sublingual or injection. These bypass the digestive tract entirely. Instead of chalking up memory loss or fatigue to just getting older, ask yourself, could it be B12? When you think of vitamin C, you might picture orange juice or think about boosting your immune system during flu season. But after 60, vitamin C does something far more important. It becomes part of your body's repair crew, especially in your blood vessels. You see, as we age, our arteries become more vulnerable to tiny cracks, stiffness, and inflammation. These issues might sound small, but over time, they create the perfect conditions for a stroke. Vitamin C helps stop that damage before it starts. It's a powerful antioxidant that reduces oxidative stress in your blood vessel linings. That means less buildup of plaque, fewer weak spots in your arteries, and more flexibility in the vessels that supply your brain. It also helps your body produce collagen, the protein that keeps your arteries, capillaries, and even skin strong and elastic. Think of collagen like scaffolding. Without enough vitamin C to help rebuild it, your vessels weaken from the inside. And here's something you might not know. Vitamin C also boosts the absorption of iron and works alongside vitamin E to reduce inflammation even further. The science backs this up. In a 10-year study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, older adults with the highest levels of vitamin C in their blood had a 42% lower risk of stroke than those with the lowest. Another study in Neurology showed that people who had higher vitamin C levels at the time of a stroke recovered faster and left the hospital sooner. So where can you get it? Bell peppers, especially red and yellow, are loaded with it. So are kiwis, oranges, strawberries, Brussels sprouts, and broccoli. Here's a smart snack idea: a small fruit salad with kiwi, strawberries, and orange slices. Add a few pumpkin seeds on top for magnesium and crunch. Instead of relying only on pills or hope, why not give your blood vessels the daily repair they need, naturally from your plate? Now, let's explore one final group of nutrients: flavonoids. You may not know the name, but you've definitely tasted them. They're in your cup of tea. They're in that bite of dark chocolate. They give berries their deep color and citrus fruits their bright zing. And when it comes to stroke prevention, flavonoids are the unsung heroes. These natural compounds do 4 important things for your brain and heart. First, they improve the function of your blood vessels, making them more responsive and elastic. Second, they calm inflammation inside artery walls, one of the root causes of clot formation. Third, they reduce platelet stickiness. That means your blood flows more smoothly, reducing the chance of clots that block oxygen to the brain. And fourth, they support better circulation to the brain's memory and movement centers. It's no wonder a long-term Harvard study of over 93,000 women found that those with the highest flavonoid intake had a 19% lower risk of ischemic stroke. That's not a small number. That's life-changing. So where can you find them? Start with berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, cherries. Add apples and pears, especially with the skins. Sip green or black tea. Enjoy a few squares of 70% dark chocolate. Add red cabbage or red onions to your salads. And don't forget citrus fruits, not just the juice, but the membranes and zest. That's where the flavonoids are most concentrated. A simple routine? Try a morning green tea with lemon and a handful of frozen blueberries. Refreshing, brain-boosting, and easy to enjoy every day. Instead of seeing tea or chocolate as a guilty pleasure, what if you saw them as part of your brain's daily protection plan? Because flavonoids don't just taste good, they help keep blood flowing where it matters most. So now you know the 8 nutrients, but how do you actually bring them into your day without overwhelm, without confusion? Let's keep it simple. Here's a daily routine that fits into your life. Not a new diet, just smarter habits built around the foods your brain and heart love. Start your morning with a smoothie. Half a cup of rolled oats, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, half a banana, a handful of blueberries, and almond milk or Greek yogurt. Add a pinch of cinnamon. That one bowl gives you omega-3s, soluble fiber, potassium, antioxidants, and even a touch of B12. Midday, enjoy a colorful salad. Mixed greens, chickpeas, chopped bell peppers, shredded carrots, and a hard-boiled egg. Dress with olive oil and lemon. Snack? Go for green tea with a few walnuts or a square of dark chocolate. Dinner can be grilled salmon, steamed broccoli, and mashed sweet potatoes with a sprinkle of chopped almonds. Finish the day with chamomile tea or rooibos, rich in antioxidants and easy on digestion, instead of starting with pills and hoping for health. Why not let your meals do the work? 1 plate at a time. So, what have we really talked about today? Not medicine, not fear, but food. Everyday food that speaks directly to your heart, your brain, your future. 8 nutrients, each with real science behind them, each playing a role in lowering stroke risk, keeping your blood flowing, and your mind clear. And none of them require fancy diets, expensive pills, or cutting out everything you enjoy. Just small, smart choices. Because stroke prevention isn't one big decision. It's a series of quiet, daily wins. Instead of waiting for a warning sign, why not build a shield today? Start with breakfast. Swap your snack. Rethink dinner. 1 plate at a time. You protect your most powerful organ, your brain. If you found this helpful, share it with someone you love over 60. And don't miss our next video, The Subtle Stroke Symptoms Every Senior Should Know. Because when it comes to your brain, knowledge is protection.